If you like survival games, but you're looking for something a little bit slower, which focuses on the survival elements rather than on the combative side like Ark, on the PvP side of things like Rust, or even the horror elements like The Forest, you may be interested in a game called The Last Plague: Blight. They currently have a demo out of the game that they play where you can actually try it out for yourselves. Just like most survival games, you'll begin your journey picking up sticks and rocks as the first things you need to begin crafting with. However, in The Last Plague: Blight, you will actually need to pick up quite a significant amount of these items. They have a stockpile mechanic where you can actually build nice neat little piles near your campsite once you have yourself set up, and with collecting things like the firewood from the trees, you actually end up spending quite a lot of time chopping things down with your initial pieces of equipment. Over time you will eventually upgrade these items, but it doesn't tend to actually remove the time required to go and collect these things. And a number of the other elements, like actually preparing water, you will need to get water from the streams, you'll need to then boil the water to make it potable, and then you will need to be able to drink it. And all of these consume time. And time is an element that's required because as you're crafting things, there is a certain amount of time that the fireplaces will actually run for, or the kilns will run for, and after that time the things will either be ready, and in the case of things like smelting, the thing that you actually smelted down may actually start solidifying. So you need to be very careful of the timings of everything that you're actually doing and manage all those times, as well as making sure that your stockpiles are not running out to the point where you can actually effectively craft and upgrade to the next level of things. As to the story of The Last Plague: Blight, it seems to centre around a mysterious disease that shows itself as a green misty blight on the landscape. Also, all the foods and water that you actually collect contain elements of the blight, and if you do not prepare your food and water correctly, you will actually start gaining a blight gauge to show how diseased you are yourself. The water itself can be boiled to remove all of the blight, however the food after cooked only removes some of the blight. And as a result, you will obviously need to work out what's going on with this disease, how can you actually remove the disease, even if partially, to allow yourself to survive within the elements and work out where it's coming from and maybe a long-term solution. I did find the demo quite the cathartic experience, as it was quite a chill time sitting myself down with my campfire, collecting firewood initially, building a shelter after collecting sticks, long sticks, and various other parts of the trees so that I could actually have a nice shelter. You would then upgrade this by building kilns so that you could then build smelters and eventually upgrade your tools from whatever it is that you actually started with. It doesn't really tell you the materials, but basically upgrading from a Stone Age style thing through to a Bronze Age. And eventually there is indication that there would be a Steel Age, however that's not actually part of the demo at this point in time. The only downside is that I believe that the structures, not so much the crafting side of things, but the structures required too many pieces to actually craft an individual thing. And so you did find yourself running out of materials in the short term in the localized areas, and you would have to do quite long trips as you started to basically rid the local areas of items to build all of the structures that you might want, especially if you like building a bit more of the expansionist side of things like I do. However, they may not really be expecting you to go that way, rather than more having a bit of a minimalist way of living in your survival element, as it may actually be expected that you need to travel a long way to find answers as to what is going on with the blight. Anyway, if you're interested in that slower survival experience where it's more about the survival elements and exploration, this is certainly a game that is looking like it will shape up to be such a thing. There isn't a lot really around the story at this stage in time, other than the fact that we know that the blight exists, but you can always go and check it out for yourself as the demo is free on Steam. Look up The Last Plague: Blight. Thanks for listening in, and I'll catch you in the next one.